Bitcoin's hit $48,000 numerous times over this week, and you probably do not have enough Bitcoin for this coming bull run. Have you been stacking those sats and absolutely chilling? Let me explain. We've obviously got BlackRock as well as every other major ETF issuer in the US states launching a spot Bitcoin ETF. The amount of Bitcoin that these ETFs has taken off the market, absolutely insane. A lot of that Bitcoin is never ever coming back again. So I ask you again, have you been stacking those sats and absolutely chilling? Along with the ETFs, obviously MicroStrategy with Michael Saylor at the helm are taking Bitcoin that pretty much 100% the market will never ever see again. Absolutely insane. We've obviously got money printing interest rates. So $48,000 today or thereabouts. Where's it heading? People talk about these God candles, Amiga candles, $100,000 candle in one day. Is that going to happen? Maybe, maybe not. $10,000, $20,000, both to the up and to the downside, are definitely going to happen. So you've been stacking sats and absolutely chilling. Couple of reasons why it's so important to be stacking now more so than ever before. Obviously during 2020 with the pandemic that happened, we saw interest rates got cut to zero. Huge amount of money printing absolutely happened. Bitcoin is about $20,000 and it dropped down to about 3,300, 3,600, and then absolutely skyrocketed back up to $69,000 before coming back down to about $17,400. That $17,400 level. So many people are still waiting for it. I truly hope that's not you. Let us know in the comments below. Did you scoop up at this cycle's lows? And quite surprisingly, I'm here in New Zealand. It's my granddad's funeral tomorrow. Rest in peace. What an amazing man. I was talking to my uncle last night, and after a conversation yesterday, this happened last year, but after a conversation last night, I said I bought at the lows. Now it's still on an exchange, which is a little bit scary. If you need help, you can reach out to the Bitcoin Way sponsor below. They can help get it off the exchange. But regardless, please get your Bitcoin off the exchange. Unless you hold it, you don't actually own it. And we saw Celsius, 3AC, FTX go absolutely bust last year. But why is it important? This magic internet money and those $100,000 days. Because $48,000 now, people think, oh, it's a little bit expensive. I'm going to wait for 35K, 38K. Some people are still calling for 30K, 28K, absolutely insane. We're still getting these things chucked out there. Do they happen? Well, wouldn't that be absolutely amazing to get those cheap sats? Probably not, though, to be honest. Bitcoin has been unleashed with Wall Street buying it up. This allows everyone to get in. Pension funds, mum and pop out there. Let us know what demographic you are watching this from. And if you've managed to get to one whole Bitcoin, I understand not everyone's going to be able to get there. But coming here for my granddad's funeral, he was a very, very, very wealthy man. And his children are gonna be all right. They're pretty much set for the rest of their lives. Well done to them. But that generation is sort of past, having a whole lot of money in the bank account. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to cut interest rates again, which is going to come this year leading up to the presidential election. Obviously not financial advice. When that happens, they're probably going to have to start money printing about the same time as well. When that happens, we see hard assets shoot up in value, and the world's hardest asset, Bitcoin, what's going to happen? What are we looking at this cycle? Now, don't give out price predictions. I think that's a little bit irresponsible. But if we're talking about just this cycle, I believe it's going to be many multiples higher than where it is now. And people are still stuffing around. It's actually pretty serious. People are like, oh, I'll just get some and I'll stack and I'll chill. But do you have a little bit of urgency about it? Because once the game's up, the game is up. You're never going to be able to get as many Satoshis today again. Maybe we get a little bit of bouncing around, a little bit of volatility. That's all good. But when you're looking 4, 8, 12 years out, even 2032, that cycle there, Bitcoin is soon to be more scarce than gold. It's already the scarcest asset on the planet. And the reason why it's so important is because for my granddad's generation, it's all good for him to buy real estate, both residential and commercial, a lot of commercial, and had a lot of cash in the bank as well. Now, house prices, if they start money printing, are probably going to go up exponentially. In Australia, I'm actually here in New Zealand at the moment, but in Australia, the Australian market, the economy is built on the Australian Ponzi scheme, which is housing, and it's become unaffordable for most people. Can that last indefinitely? Probably not. And maybe you got some wealth in real estate. Well done to you. Enjoy it, but don't have all your eggs in that one basket. So again, that brings us back to Bitcoin. What we're talking about with Bitcoin is digital property that you can own. And yes, it's out there in cyberspace, but it's the first time in human history where you can stack something and hold it, and no government, institution, financial entity, corporation, company, country can get in the way of you interacting with Bitcoin, spending your Bitcoin, saving your Bitcoin. If you do the right things and store it correctly, it's yours for life, and it's something that you will be able to pass on to future generations. There's no upkeep, or maybe there's a little bit. Yes, you need to buy a cold wallet, you need to store your seed on steel minimum. Titanium is way better. Again, whatever you do, don't store that generational wealth on paper. But when you're stacking, you're accumulating, you've got this. It's storing energy from now, this time in history, 2024, all the way into the future. And it is something that you'll be able to pass on to future generations. There's no upkeep like property, the biggest thing. There's no management fees like there are in stocks. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm against buying the ETF. I understand it's great for pension funds and things like that. Obviously, I interviewed Matt Hogan from Bitwise there. Looks like they're doing the right thing. But say the government comes after them and says, hey, we're making Bitcoin illegal to hold as a bearer share. Yes, you're allowed the ETFs, but that's it. And then the government uses that. And yes, tinfoil hat. But if you're actually holding on to it, then it's yours. And oh, this could never happen. Well, it happened with gold. History doesn't always repeat, but often it rhymes. The governments are pretty scared. We've seen obviously Jamie Dimon, my apologies, and Lizzie Dizzy, Senator Elizabeth Warren, absolutely rail against Bitcoin. And why is that? Because they're absolutely scared. We've got the president of the ECB coming out as well, dead set against it. And why? Because they realize that real money, and Bitcoin is the only real money. The second closest is gold. I'm not discrediting gold. It's worked really well for 2,000 years. Say 2,000 years ago, 1 ounce of gold, a fine suit. Today, 1 ounce of gold, a fine suit. It has worked really well as a store of value, but it's inflationary. They print more money, they'll dig deeper, and if there's a need for it, a demand for it, they will just bring more gold out. That can't happen with Bitcoin. We're going into the halving in April 2024. When that happens, from 900 a day down to 450 Bitcoin mined per day, then after that, 225 4 years later. You're here at a time in history. So if we link it all back to the start, do you have enough Bitcoin? This is not going to last for very long, and you can really set your future generations up. This isn't just about you getting absolutely fabulously wealthy. I understand that will happen. Make the most of it. Your purchasing power, if you're storing Bitcoin over time, is going to go up. Sure, it's not good to time the markets. It's better just to spend time in the markets. But when you're storing that, you've got something to be able to hand on to future generations. House prices, people are always going to want houses, but they can just build more and more and more. And we can see this beautiful, lovely rainforest here, the Waitakere Ranges here in New Zealand, very close to Piha Beach. We went there this morning. A lot of undeveloped land. This place is absolutely sensational. Auckland City is just over there. From the other end of the balcony, we can see the Sky Needle, Auckland Harbour Bridge. It's not very far from Auckland, a very small island. People want to be close to the financial hub. As they come out, they can develop this more and more and more. If the demand of Bitcoin goes up, they cannot change the supply, and what's issued daily is going to become less and less and less. We're going to see this FOMO kick in. And then $1 million in a day, I probably don't see that happening, to be honest. $100,000 in one day, an Omega candle. Is that possible? Yeah, it is possible. Does that happen this cycle? Who knows? Who knows what happens with the global economy? What happens when nation states, and we're already seeing them, start to mine Bitcoin in secret, use Bitcoin as legal tender? This is no longer a joke. You've got an opportunity to get fabulously rich very, very quickly. But being rich, what's the fun in that if you're just spending all that money on yourself? This is about seizing this opportunity in time, this one moment, making the most of it, capturing it, because you don't want to let it slip. You want to be able to store that energy. Maybe you get 2,300 Satoshis per US dollar at the moment. For every $10, 23,000 Satoshis. When Bitcoin starts really pumping, the only way that you're going to be able to get Bitcoin is to earn Bitcoin. So I definitely hope you're providing value to the greater world out there. But when this thing starts running, it's going to start to melt faces very, very quickly. Yes, it is number go up technology, and that's all well and good. But just take a step back. I'm not going to, because there's a bloody big ledge behind me. But take a step back and contemplate, what or who do you want to be in this world as you grow up? And I don't care how old you are. My granddad passed way too early at 86 years old. He lived a life full of life. And there's plenty of people that are 86 now and they're stacking Bitcoin. I saw Bitcoin where I think a 74-year-old learning how to hold it in cold storage, which was absolutely incredible. And that Bitcoin, they're probably not going to spend it all. They're just saving their purchasing power that they've accumulated over a whole lifetime. They'll be able to hand that on to future generations. So you, if you're making money, you're making bank. Where are you storing that? And if you're storing it now, and you've got, if you just chill about the future and you consume less than the income coming in, so your incoming is less than your outgoing, you can store that purchasing power and allow it to continue to appreciate going into the future. World's scarcest asset. We are really here at a very privileged time in human history, so I'd really make the most of it. If you're not stacking now, today, you really don't deserve a $10,000, $20,000 daily candle. And they're going to happen. And if you get freaked out on the $10,000, $20,000 candle when it dumps, which is very, very likely to happen, what goes up must come down. And we need to go down to be able to go up. If you're not doing that and you're not riding those waves, well, there's probably no helping some people. Unfortunately, I know that's a tough message. So definitely read the books. You're going to eat Klaus Schwab's bugs. And the World Economic Forum, what they're doing is so insidious, so insane. You really have an opportunity, a limited time in human history. You're here. I don't care if you got back in 2009, 2019, 2021, whatever class you are of Bitcoin, or even 2024. If you're here, the class of 2024, hit subscribe if we vibe, but well done. You are looking after your future's future, which is absolutely amazing, admirable. And yes, you're going to be able to buy all the toys, have a fun, lavish lifestyle. I understand that. But as long as what is outgoing is less than what is incoming, and you're using that incoming to be able to stack the world's hardest asset, you're here at a remarkable time in human history. Make the most of it. This year 2024, the year of chaos, things are going to get absolutely hectic, man. Face melting, both to the up and to the downside, both with Bitcoin and the worldwide chaos that is going on. We're already seeing that take place. Homelessness is rising. The state of housing is going up exponentially. So I'd take that into account. You do you, I'll do me. If we do vibe, hit subscribe. We'll see you on the next video when I'm back in the studio from Aotearoa. Peace, bro.